Welcome back. It is February. I am caught up to date with the holidays. It is no longer Christmas time in January, although I do have one more Christmas video coming. It's Valentine's Day, almost, and most of you who I polled on my Instagram said you want to cook something fancy. Chicken, steak, shrimp, salmon, all the 4 things you see in front of me. Today I'm going to show you 4 quick ways to cook all of these proteins, and then you can prep whatever side dish you want. Whether you're gonna cook for your significant other or yourself, your parents, whoever it may be, your lovely roommates, maybe one of these. There's something for everyone, and I promise that you are gonna be able to cook this. So, with my little sous chef, let's get going. First up, shrimp. You can absolutely buy frozen shrimp. This is literally a third of the price. You could also buy it already shelled and deveined, which means that the little poop shoot is taken out of the shrimp. But in case you don't, I'm gonna show you how to peel the shrimp. It's super easy. These are the legs and the tail. And so this shrimp, if you can see the little slit in the back, that's where they deveined it, which is normally there would be a dark brown strip that goes through here, and that is literally shrimp poop. So you want to get that out of there. These shrimp, it's super easy. You just kind of squeeze down by the legs and it peels off, and then I just kind of squeeze the tail and it comes out. And then what we're gonna do so the seasoning actually sticks to the shrimp is we're gonna put them on paper towel and we're gonna kind of pat all of the moisture off. Okay, shrimp, dry. Ish. And you can add spicy seasoning, whatever your heart desires. I'm gonna add salt, onion powder, some chili pepper, and some black pepper. I am allergic to garlic, so we're not putting garlic on this shrimp. You want to add a little extra because some of it is going to stay in the pan. Coat everything. Shrimp cooks really fast, so if you don't want to have to reheat it, cook it last. You're gonna see it cooks in probably like 2 minutes. So you're gonna put your shrimp over like a medium-high heat, and we're just gonna add a little oil to the pan and see how the oil is really flowy and shimmery in the pan. That's how you know your pan is hot. You put the shrimp right in, and they are gonna shrivel up pretty quick. Like I said, you don't wanna put too many in the pan or else they will not cook as evenly. When the shrimp are cooked, they're gonna shrivel up like this one, almost in a C shape, and they're gonna turn that pinkish white color that you see in cooked shrimp. Okay, so like this one, it's all shriveled up, and you can see the seasoning that's stuck is a little browned, and then there's the pink spots on the shrimp. So you can take a fork if you want to be more particular, but I usually just kind of flip them around. And then once I have both sides cooked like this, I leave them in for an extra 30 seconds or so just to make sure they are cooked all the way. That is literally all it takes. That's it. Chicken time for my favorite protein. This is pretty much your regular chicken, except we're gonna coat it in some seasoned flour. When you sear it in the pan before you bake it, it gives it a nice little crust on it. Makes you feel a little fancier, and it tastes a little better too, and it's super easy. I'm just gonna add some salt and pepper to my flour. You can add Cajun seasoning, you can add steak seasoning, whatever you want to add into here. I have probably a ½ cup of flour and a tablespoon of salt and about a teaspoon of black pepper. And then you're just gonna take your chicken, coat it in the flour, and really kind of push it down, make sure it gets in all those cracks. And then all we're gonna do is sear the chicken, and then we're gonna finish by baking it in the oven, which is typically what I do anyway, because when you bake chicken in the oven, it kind of turns out looking a little sad. So we're not gonna do that. All right, so we're gonna grab a bigger pan for our chicken so they both fit, and we're gonna add some oil, a little more than before, because we don't want the flour to stick to the pan. We want it to stick to the chicken. We are gonna lay our chicken, and we are just gonna let this cook until it does not stick anymore. The one thing that they taught us in culinary school, when you're cooking something and it's sticking to the pan, it means it's not done yet. It's literally that simple. So if you go to flip your chicken and you have a hard time getting it off, just let it be. So we can peek at our chicken. It's not sticking, but we want to make sure it's brown enough for our liking. It could go a little more, but I'm gonna flip it. Getting crispy. See, these spots are gonna be nice and crispy because of the flour. So I'm gonna sear the other side, and when the other side is brown, I'm gonna move it into a pan lined with foil, and we're gonna bake it until it is finished in the oven. You can bake it anywhere between 300 and like 400 degrees. And then you do want the inside to be 165. But if you don't have a thermometer, I'll put a link below to one of my favorite ones that has the dial outside of the oven and the probe is in the chicken, so it just beeps when it's ready. You set it, it's like a timer. It tells you exactly when your meat is done. It's never going to be overcooked. If you don't have one, just cut your chicken open and see when it's done in the inside. See that? I'm going to leave it for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to take it out, and we'll pop it out of the oven when it's done. So now we're going to go on to our salmon, which might be the easiest one out of the bunch because we're gonna bake it in the oven. I got this at the grocery store, and they actually had some that were already marinated and pre-seasoned, and you can absolutely do that. But I picked these up because I wanted to kind of start from the bare bones. So all we're gonna do is pat it dry. We just wanna get that moisture off like the shrimp so that the seasoning sticks to it. And then we're gonna add olive oil, salt, and pepper, and bake it in the oven at 425. So I'm gonna lay these in a pan with aluminum foil, and you wanna bake 4 to 6 minutes per ½ inch of fish. So these are between ½ inch and 1 inch. So I'm gonna start out at 12 and see how it goes from there. Most ovens are not accurate, so whenever you're cooking meat in the oven or anything for that matter, don't live by the time that they give you on the oven because it might not be accurate. Keep one hand clean because I don't want to rub salmon juice on my fingers and then put it in my salt. Rub both sides, and it should be enough to coat both. You don't really need a whole lot. But that's about it. So we're gonna bake it for 12 minutes and pull it out and see what it looks like. All right, time for steak. So steak can be very intimidating, especially when you spend $20 on a cut of steak, but I'm gonna show you how to make sure it tastes delicious. So what we're gonna do is add salt and pepper to both sides of the steak. All the seasoning we are gonna be putting on it because we are going to be making an herb butter, and the recipe for that will also be linked below, and it's something great to keep in your freezer. We're just gonna kind of press the seasoning in, and then we're gonna flip it over and season the other side. And then while this sits for a minute, we are going to make the butter. All right, for this fancy herb butter, we're gonna get a bowl and soft butter. We're gonna add 2 sticks of butter. You can obviously cut or multiply this recipe to your liking. I'm using unsalted butter, so just be aware that if you're using salted butter, cut the salt in half. And I have chopped up some parsley, rosemary. See, look, our chicken's done. How easy is that? Probe is in the chicken, and I literally don't even have to know what temperature to cook it to. I just put it on the little chicken emoji in the bottom of the timer. And that's it. Chicken is done. So there is about a half, 3/4 cups of herbs. You can put whatever herbs you would like in here. Feel free to put some fresh garlic in here. That would be delicious. I'm also gonna add some black pepper and some salt because it is unsalted butter. I'm also gonna add a little bit of onion powder because I like the flavor it gives to the butter. Okay, so this is the butter. This is great because you keep this in your freezer. You can either roll it into a log and cut it into slices, but I have like a smaller ice cube tray, and I literally put it in the ice cube tray, freeze it, and I'll pop them out and I'll put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them in the freezer, or you can put them in a Tupperware. It makes everything that much more delicious. Even throwing this in some mashed potatoes or a baked potato, the possibilities are endless, but I do not suggest putting it on your pancakes in the morning. So before we cook our steak, okay, so apparently I could not film this without him. It's literally these 4 fingers. When you touch this finger to your thumb, Yeah? You feel here? That is when it's rare. You touch the middle finger. Yeah? Can you touch it? Good boy. We tried so hard.
Sorry.
Oh, this actor's fired. Touch the first finger and you squeeze, like you just poke right between your knuckle and like where your thumb goes. And that is when your steak is rare, medium rare, medium, medium well. You feel that firmness and then you touch your steak. It's pretty similar. That's a good way to kind of gauge how your steak is cooking. And we had a dog language and English language explain how to do that. We're gonna cook the steak. Oil the pan. Steak is fatty, so we do not need much oil at all. Let it kind of smoke a little bit because I want that really nice sear on the steak. And when you lay this down, you always want to lay down to you first and away from you so that if oil splashes, it is not splashing in your face. All right, and now we are gonna flip it. So we got that nice golden color. And you only want to flip this once. You don't want to go back and forth and back and forth. This thermometer you can actually use. I used it on the fish to make sure it was done. And now I can do rare, medium, or well done on the steak, and it tells me where it wants to be. But it has the temperatures on the side and it's magnetic, so you can just literally stick it to your oven and you are good to go. And what we're gonna be doing is called basting. We are gonna add a good amount of butter to the pan. You are gonna let it melt in the bottom of your pan. And then we are just gonna spoon it over the steak. And then once we get one side, we're gonna flip the steak over. You see that butter's browning down there? Brown butter is gonna give a little more nuttiness to our steak and another layer of flavor. So use my fork again. This big boy, I am going to just pour all this good butter right on top. A steak is not meant to be healthy anyway, so. All right, we are done. Our food critic is on site. Final word. Yeah, Brooks. So we have our salmon, which came out really nice. Our chicken, our steak. So we have this nice, juicy, medium steak, medium rare. Our shrimp may have become our snack. Have a nice red wine with the steak. Have a nice little lemon drop martini with my salmon. May not be eating vegetables for dinner, but that's okay. You can cook all of this too. This took maybe 30 minutes from start to finish if you were to do it all at once. It was really not bad at all. Hop down below. I'm gonna list links to the recipes on my site. I'm gonna list links to my burner if you are curious about it, and the thermometers, everything you'll need will be below. So eat up. And happy Valentine's Day.
This guy wants some chicken. We're taking a quick commercial break because the sous chef got thirsty.
All right, what do you think? My Valentine. Finger licking good. Don't sue me for that. Good?